This film you wrote and directed. This marks your directorial feature debut, and your also feature writing debut. Can you walk me through the process of how you got this film made?
Man, a lot of patience, a lot of hard work. I started the script in 2017, and my two producers hopped on right at the beginning, and I probably went over with 100 different rewrites before we could actually find our correct characters. And clearly, I mean, these characters are very, very specific. So this wasn't an easy process to cast them. And also when these actors were looking at my name, it's like, who is this guy? And what's so cool is like, we kept at it. You know, we kept putting the offers out there and waiting 2 weeks at a time. And that took about 4 years.
Well, I'm glad you did, because the film's fantastic. It has so many twists and turns in it. And I love the characters, Sue and Dion. I think they're fantastic. I think they're great. What inspired you to create The Dirty South? And can you tell me a little bit about the film storyline?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like I said, 2017 is when it started. My father had just passed away, and I just started listening to a lot of his old music. He's like 1960s and stuff, but he loved Dion DiMucci and the Belmonts. And Run Around Sue and The Wanderer were his two favorite songs. And I just started listening to him one day, and I was like, this girl is breaking everybody's heart. You know, like, why does she break everybody's heart? And I said, okay, why do women break hearts? It's because they don't have any time. Anytime that guy is trying to get a woman's attention, she doesn't have time for him, she breaks everybody's hearts.
Right.
So the man that roams from town to town with two fists of iron, and he's always got girls all over him, I wonder, it's like, why is he on the run? Why is this guy a wanderer? So I just started creating characters, and they just started talking.
That's incredible, man. Now, look, you were both the writer and director on this. What was the most challenging part of this to bring this story to life on screen?
Man, I wrote this as a summer script. It was supposed to be like short shorts, tank tops, and 3 days before we went into production, it dropped to like 29 degrees in Louisiana. And then like in the swamps, wet cold is freezing. And, you know, we're out on the river with boats and stuff like that. It is so cold. And so that was one of the greatest challenges to, you know, in the last 3 days, we had to just totally transform the film. It was not going to be a summer, beautiful, colorful picture. It was a darker tone. And it fell into place so perfectly, because in reality, it was never supposed to be in the summer. It was always supposed to be right here.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, how did your work as an actor kind of help you prepare for this film as a director?
Man, acting class. You know, I got to watch my coaches. And what's funny is the guy that plays Gary in my film, he was my acting coach.
Oh, it's incredible.
He was my acting coach when I lived in New Orleans. And I watched him for years tell us to listen to each other. To do the preparation for each character, and through knowing like that in every single scene as an actor, you want something, you know, right. You need something. I started to write that, you know, I started to create situations where this actor needs something in this scene. And whenever I finally understood the structure of a screenplay, I just started putting them in there.
Wait, time out. This was the first screenplay you ever wrote also?
No.
Okay.
I've written 12 feature-length screenplays before any one of them really got a lot of attention.
I was going to say, I was like, holy crap, that's crazy. That's insane. Now, Willa Holland is fantastic as Sue. She is great in this film. And this character hasn't had it easy. She's really trying to make up for her dad's mistakes and raise her little brother at the same time. Tell me a little bit about Sue, and what did Willa bring to Sue that brought her to life?
Man, Sue is a tough character that, you know, she didn't choose a life of poverty. She never had a choice what she was going to do with her life. She had, you know, a no-show mother and a father that really couldn't even run himself, but he owns a bar. So she knew that the only way that, you know, there is to put food on the table is that she runs it. So her life was pretty much picked out for her with no choice. But with having a brother at home, that's her biggest want. It's not that her father, you know, it's not that he is, he is not her main worry, her brother. You know, that's why she will actually do anything possible just to actually keep the roof over his head, to feed him. It's truly like just she's not just an older sister. She's almost like a mother.
Yeah, like a surrogate mother. Exactly. I want to talk about Shane for a second because he's phenomenal in this film. I mean, he's charming and he's more than meets the eye. And he has that shady factor that I don't see him play very much, which he's great at. Why was Shane the right choice for Dion?
One word, brooding. Like Shane West has this just face on screen that you can always see that his brows are lowered. You don't know what he's thinking, but he has this charisma and this confidence behind him. The best part about Shane is that like he can be this tough, cool slay character, but he also can be very tender. I feel like he nailed the role.
Yeah, he does a perfect balance between that kind of shadiness and that tenderness that makes Dion perfect. Now, Dermot Mulroney plays Jeb Roy, who's from the other side of the tracks. I feel like in times we've all met a Jeb in our life, but Dermot really brings this gravitas to the role. What else did he bring to the page, or what else did he bring to the screen that wasn't necessarily on the page?
Oh, man. First of all, Dermot's presence on set like brings an energy to everybody there that we're going to do our best today. Everybody was on point. Everybody was running. Everybody was doing that. And Dermot was the kindest man. He was in a rush for nothing, but he was on his mark before we said anything. And he had everything down pat. Like, it was just so impressive to watch he and Wayne parade together, just two professionals that have been doing this for 30 years. It was something just to watch and just let them go.
That's incredible. Now, you were genuinely from the South, right?
I am. Natchitoches, Louisiana. I actually went to high school in Winfield, but I played college baseball in Natchitoches.
My mom's lives in Lake Charles out there in Louisiana.
Yeah.
So I know all about it. Now, the Dirty South appears to have a strong sense of place and atmosphere. How did you work on capturing the essence of the South in the setting in your film?
That's exactly why I chose Natchitoches. Natchitoches is one of the most stunning places, like in all of Louisiana, I think. It just has that southern rugged beauty to it. And especially in the winter, in the winter, you really get to see it just for the bare bones of what it is, the still water, the steam rising off of it. But, during our winters in Louisiana, it rains a lot. So we actually do get to see the mud, the swamps. Sure. And this really just was the perfect time of year to capture the essence of the Dirty South.
This it almost reminds me. It almost reminds me of a southern version of Fargo. Were there any inspirations that you drew from when crafting the look and design of the Dirty South?
Hell or High Water was always a very close comparison to me. It's about good people doing bad things in a small town, and they're doing it for the ones they love. And I did love the simplicity of that movie, that, you didn't need anything that was super fancy. It was almost dressed down, but sometimes simple is beautiful. And as an artist, I look for just the simplicity, like anything that can just bring us at peace for a second. It allows us to ramp it up in a few more seconds.
Yeah, music also plays such a significant role in this film. How did you approach the soundtrack and its contributions to the film's overall feel and tone?
The soundtrack was, whenever I was writing the screenplay, I was actually listening to a lot of Dorothy, her song Gun in My Hands. I'm so excited that we got that song to be a part of this, because to me, it was the tone of the entire film.
It really is.
It really is. It's a strong lead female, and that's exactly what Dorothy is. And it shows that Sue's not wanting to do this, but she does it. But Tyler Forrest and I actually locked ourselves in a cabin for 2 weeks, and we wrote the entire soundtrack of the film.
That's incredible.
Tyler Forrest is he's just a magician. I told him that I wanted a kind of a Black Keys feel, just a very, very just dirty, raunchy, good old, but Southern rock. And he created the score. He created every song in the film outside of Dorothy and Spencer Brunson singing in the bar.
Yeah, I spent some time in Lake Charles and in Dothan, Alabama, and the soundtrack adds that extra layer for me for this film. I mean, it's fantastic. Now, what did you learn from making The Dirty South that you'd like to take with you on future projects?
Man, that's the greatest thing I've learned from this is that if you need help, ask. And so, it's so tough for us to do this. I didn't want to ask anybody for anything, but you'll be surprised, especially where I'm from in the South. If you ask for help, people are there ready to help. It's like I said, it was freezing and people were bringing us heaters. They were bringing us clothes, jackets, blankets, face masks, and for free. And I mean, anything that we could have possibly needed was one phone call away. We produced a tractor in less than 30 minutes.
That's
we produced
incredible.
a 300-pound hog in literally a day.
Wow. That's the one thing about the South, man. Southern hospitality is a real thing that people, really it is a real thing. Now, what are you hoping audiences take away from the Dirty South when they watch it? And what kind of impact would you like the film to have?
I mean, I'd love for the impact to, I would love it to impact rural America. There's so much of rural America. I didn't grow up in a city, and a lot of the times the characters I watched in LA and New York, I couldn't relate to them.
Sure.
But with a small town, like everybody can relate. And in definitely small towns, Southern USA, family always has your back. Like, it doesn't matter if your family is, crazy at one point in their life or they're losing it. When the shit hits the fan, like, your family is there. They will be there every single time. And that's just a code down here.
Absolutely. Now, have you already started crafting your next project, either writing it or preparing to direct it?
Yes, I'm very close to finishing a first draft of a new holiday thriller called Christmas Eve.
Oh, there we go. I love it. Well, Matthew, congratulations on The Dirty South, man. I love this film. It's a lot of fun. I mean, there's a lot of twists and turns. And the one thing about the Dirty South, especially the South in general in small towns, is that everybody knows everybody else's business. And this is no different, especially with everything that happens in this film. So fantastic job, Matthew. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Joseph.